Howdy, Legendary Void here, and today, I know it's been a while, I decided to take a step back and actually redo some of the cards that I wasn't exactly happy with, or just modify their effects so that they were a bit stronger, a bit weaker, whatever. We'll talk about those in just a second, but that's where I was for the last week, that's why I didn't upload. But all the cards that I modified, I think all the changes for them were for the better. There were some of them that I just wasn't happy with. People were saying were quote-unquote bad, unplayable, stuff like that. So I decided to change a few of them, such as the STARSCREAM, which I'm only going to be talking about the second STARSCREAM version, since I completely just redid his entire effects and stuff. His stats are exactly the same, but it's just his abilities that I completely overwrote. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. But we're going to go ahead and lead off with the two cards that actually won the poll the last time around, and which were CLOUDRAKER and FASTLANE. Now, CLOUDRAKER, we're going to go and start off with him. He is a clone plane specialist, which clone is a new tag that I'm going to be adding to CLOUDRAKER, and it'll have some battle cards, some stratagem, stuff like that that I'll interact with. So, of course, it's not just there for fun. But he's a 5/13/2 for 10 stars, and whenever you flip him to alt mode and you have FASTLANE on the battlefield, you get to give him bold 2 until the end of the turn. So, of course, it makes this duo at least more leaning towards the orange side of things, as opposed to Runabout and Runamuck's blue tilt, because they're usually played in mostly blue builds. So CLOUDRAKER and FASTLANE are going to be more generally played as the orange build. So, looking at CLOUDRAKER's bot mode, he is a clone specialist, so he keeps the specialist in the clone, and he's a 6/13/1, and whenever he defends and flips at least 2 green pips in bot mode, you get to give him and your FASTLANE +1 defense until the end of turn. So basically, since every single deck is going to run green pips, it just makes sense, really. But since every single deck is going to run green pips, this makes it sort of compatible with any sort of deck. If you wanted to play blue, if you want to play orange or black, whatever you want to do, green pips are going to be in every single one of them. So of course it makes sense that you have to flip 2 to get +1 on both of them, regardless of who's defending. So, but yeah, he's got a pretty good offensive stat. His defense is a little low, but of course that's what his bot mode ability is for, giving him extra defense. And FASTLANE as well, since FASTLANE has even worse defense. Moving over to him, he is a clone car melee. In his alt mode, he's a 5/14/1, and whenever you flip to his alt mode, you get to do 3 damage to either this character or CLOUDRAKER if he's on the battlefield, and if you do, you get to give the character you chose +3 attack until the end of turn. So of course, this is again leading towards the more aggro side of things. If you choose to do it on CLOUDRAKER, it's either bringing up to 8 or 9 base attack. And if you do it on FASTLANE, it's 8 or 9 base attack as well, because in his bot mode, he is a 6/14/0, so he has a little bit more health than CLOUDRAKER in exchange for less defense. But whenever you flip to his bot mode, you get to flip CLOUDRAKER to his other mode. So of course that'll let you, if you're playing it right, say you're going on your first turn, you flip CLOUDRAKER to his bot mode, attack with him, hopefully get the defense thing to give him boosted defense whenever he defends, and then you're going to flip FASTLANE on the next turn, which flips CLOUDRAKER back to alt mode, gives your FASTLANE bold 2, and then he has +1 attack for each secret action your opponent has in play. So again, it just keeps leaning more in towards the aggro side of the combo with these two characters. Again, you can still play it blue and use the bold to try and gain Pierce in a blue-black deck. It's not exactly as beneficial as it would be if you were, say, running orange. So the next card I revealed was actually a stratagem for Thundercracker Mock Warrior, and I actually kind of debuted the idea of a full art stratagem, and people seem to be like, oh, I mean, it seems good, all things considered, just as like an alternate way of using the card, because people were saying that it's a bit hard to read a text, and I can agree with that. I tried my best to try and put shadows behind the words to make it a little bit easier to read, and I think I did that fairly well, but it's still kind of a pain in some spots. But I'll probably just show you both on the screen at once here while I'm talking about this in the video, so you can see and tell me which one you prefer in the comments below. But of course, the actual card itself gives Thundercracker +1 defense, and then you can actually target any character you want to by pinging the 2 damage in his alt mode instead of just being strictly melee characters. So of course that makes him just a tad bit stronger and more durable. So that's kind of what I was going for with this stratagem. Next up on the list, we're going to talk about the STARSCREAM that I had my good friend Lance Hardy reveal for me. He is a big fan of the Armada STARSCREAM and actually helped me to actually get the artwork for this. He did some fancy maneuvers to get this this Armada STARSCREAM, and I think it looks really good. The alt mode art is just a tad bit blurry, but I don't think that can really be helped. I mean, honestly, from a distance, you couldn't even really tell. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but in his alt mode, he is a leader plane ranged. He's a 515-3 for 12 stars, so he's kind of beefy in his alt mode, having the 3 defense. I don't think there's ever been a STARSCREAM with 3 defense before, but while he has the null ray of STARSCREAM or STARSCREAM Saber equipped, he has 2 weapon slots. So STARSCREAM Saber is going to be a battle card that I'll be revealing later. And it gives STARSCREAM some pretty strong effects, similar to the way the null ray was a stronger flamethrower for him. The STARSCREAM Saber is going to be a bit of a stronger weapon that already exists. So, but whenever you flip to his alt mode and have the 2 weapons equipped, each of your other characters have bold 2 until the end of turn. Basically, it just makes it to where you can, it's more leaning towards the aggro side of things. Once again, of course, the bold 2 is obviously aggro, and even if you're not getting to run a very wide team, still giving bold 2 to each of your other characters is very strong, even if it's not just STARSCREAM himself. Now, STARSCREAM's bot mode is a leader melee, which this is the second time STARSCREAM has appeared as a melee character, being the first time in the starter set with the Bumblebee, the Windblade, and the Megatron. But the reason I gave him melee is, of course, he has his saber, and that's kind of like the main thing that he had in the Armada cartoon. He was a big swordsman, of course, that's why I gave him the title Noble Swordsman. So, of course, he's going to be a 6'15" and while he's equipped with the null ray and or STARSCREAM Saber, he has 2 weapon slots, so of course that carries over to his other side. But if he has a weapon 2 weapons equipped, you may draw a card at the start of your turn. So basically, it becomes a pocket processor in the bot mode while he has the 2 weapons equipped. So of course, you're going to want to try and get that as soon as possible, so you can just build up massive hand sizes as quickly as you can. So usually, this bot mode side is going to be used to try and set up in the early game, and of course, you're going to be swinging with the alt mode, trying to get your other characters to do as much damage while defending with that big 3 defense in the alt mode. So STARSCREAM Noble Swordsman is a very cool character. I think I did a better job with his second version. If you want to, you can check out the Facebook page where I posted this. Link will be in the description if you want to see the older version of it. As people said, it's not as good. I think this one's a lot better. Like, I definitely like this version a lot better than the other one. But if you want to make that call for yourself, you can check it out. Of course, the link is in the description below. So next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about all the changes that I made to the characters while I was away for a bit. I'm only going to be talking about the sides of the characters that I actually made changes to. So of course, we're going to be talking about CYCLONUS first. So CYCLONUS, I just changed his alt mode ability. I didn't change any of his stats or his star count. But whenever you flip to his alt mode, you get to flip one of your Decepticons on the battlefield or in the KO area, and if you do, draw a card. Putting that it's in the KO area means that you're always going to be drawing a card regardless if CYCLONUS is the only one left on the field. Plus, this definitely makes it a lot easier for you to play Galvatron. Play him with Galvatron, because before, just grabbing Decepticon cards from the scrap pile wasn't exactly the best thing in the world. So instead, we're going to have it to where he allows Galvatron to flip. So this is the order of operations if you were to play them on the team together. So you would flip Galvatron on the first turn, and then probably swing CYCLONUS. And then you swing CYCLONUS on the next, you flip CYCLONUS to his bot mode on the next turn, range the top 5 cards of your deck, and then you obviously know what's on top, so you can call it. Then you play Rollout, and of course Galvatron will flip, and CYCLONUS will flip. You'll do Galvatron's first, get the card underneath him, and then CYCLONUS lets you flip Galvatron, and you get to draw the next card that you set up from the top of your deck. So you would organize the top card to go underneath Galvatron, and then you would set up CYCLONUS's draw card for his alt mode ability as something you would like to draw. So of course, it makes CYCLONUS's bot mode ability a lot stronger, as well as also making him a lot more compatible with Galvatron than he was before. Next up is going to be Autobot WHEELIE, which I only changed his bot mode ability due to a suggestion in the comments, thank you. And he didn't change his stats or his stars or anything like that. He's a 4/9/1, and he can't take more than 4 attack damage from a single attack. Now, this would have definitely been worth being a rare card way back in Wave 1, but because we have so much direct damage nowadays, it only makes sense that it's kind of a weaker ability now. Like, Shrapnel is not as playable as he once was. That's why his price has dropped significantly since way back in Wave 1. But being able to only take 4 damage from a single attack is still pretty good. It's not a bad effect. It's just that, you know, having the direct damage makes it to where he won't always be able to only be able to take 3 attacks before he dies. Instead, it'll probably be just 1 or 2. Because, you know, your opponent is going to be able to just deal enough damage to him that they can just hit you once and you're dead. So that's the reason I decided it would be okay if I just gave him the, you know, take 4 attack damage from a single attack. So next up, I really didn't make too many changes to Galvatron. I pretty much did exactly what I said I was going to. I made him a 6-18-3. In his alt mode, so of course his attack went down, HP up, and defense stayed the same. And then bot mode, I reworded his bot mode effect so that it was a little bit easier to understand. I know some people got confused by that, but he is a 5-18-2, so his attack went up, HP up, and the defense up as well, so that he's able to withstand a few more attacks. And he's still leader ranged, so of course that stayed the same. But otherwise, he's much stronger than he was. I've been doing a little bit of testing with him with Fire Drive and Night Flight, and oh boy, he swings really hard. He swings ridiculously hard. But still, with Pierce being a major player in the game, he's not going to be able to take too many attacks before he's done. But if you can get him to set up quite a few times in a row, at least flip him quite a few times, then it's very good for getting him his attack. I've gotten his attack up to 10. That's the highest I've been able to get it to before flips. So it can be very strong if you're able to do it. And we have one more thing on the agenda for today. It is actually going to be the giveaway winner from the CYCLONUS video, in which I will be giving away some of the base versions of the cards that I got printed way back when I was still making all the different characters. The winner for this one is going to be Lego Movies. And that's it. Let's go ahead and discuss the characters that we're going to be voting for on the next for the next reveal. We're going to go ahead and actually not add any characters to the poll, where it's just going to be the same 3 as last time, because as someone pointed out to me, the polls on the mobile version of Facebook only show the first 3, and the last one you actually have to like double click other options to see what else there is. So things like Rack and Ruin, he was at the bottom of the list last time. He got the least votes because less people saw him. So we're just going to do the 3, and it's going to be Autobot Hardhead, Autobot Skids, and Rack and Ruin. So those are going to be your 3 options for this week's vote. Don't forget to put that in the comments down below and on the Facebook page. Again, it's linked in the description if you want to check that out, because I will be tallying the votes from both places. So if you want to vote twice, go ahead and do that. And of course, I do appreciate you all watching. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys being patient with me as I go back and redo some of the characters that I wasn't exactly happy with. But of course, I will see you all in the next video. Peace.